for first timers. This is a 30-minute session, a very glitzy background. We're talking about success. I mean, I'm in someone's bedroom. I don't know whose bedroom it is. Random is good. So success, this pod plus session, 30 minutes, deep dive into the topic of the week, which is about success. Did anybody listen to it this week? Let me know if you did. And also let me know what stuck. So if you don't have to have listened to the podcast in order to join Pod Plus, because we cover lots of different things. But if you did listen, brilliant, lots of people. Corinne, thank you. Let me know what stuck. So if you listen to it and you're like, oh, I really like that point, or I've thought about that thing you or Sarah said since, just let us know. Give us a bit of a sense of what was it that stuck from the session. And then I'll let you know what we're going to talk about. Particularly like the idea of redefining success. Yeah, I know. So the context there, Maria said about the Oxford English definition of success, which is basically about seniority and wealth. And when we asked our Instagram community what success meant to them, it was very different. It was about purpose and integrity and a sense of fulfillment at work. It wasn't becoming more wealthy. No one said it's getting more pay or more promotion, though traditionally that's some of the kind of notions of success. Jules, how do you access the podcast? Well, you literally search Squiggly Careers. So I'm just going to get my notebook, everybody. You just search Squiggly Careers and you can get hold of the podcast. It's pretty easy. Success feels individual to your own values. Absolutely. And the reason that we wanted to focus on success as a topic was because in the TED talk that we did, one of the things that we said is that the good thing about Squiggly Career is that success is as individual as you are. But that's a really big statement to make. And in order to find success as individual as you are, we need sometimes to give people the self-awareness and the insights to be able to do that. So that's what I want to build on a little bit today, the self-awareness and insights in order to help you individualize your success. My iPad has locked, everybody, which is not good. So just in case you don't know, on amazingif.com now, to support the episode, in addition to the stuff I'm going to talk about, you can get a summary, which is this bit here. This is called, we call this a pod note. So it's just like a short swipeable summary. And then you can also download this pod sheet. So I'm obviously going to go through a few different concepts now to spark your thinking. But if you do want to dive even deeper, the pod sheet is like an editable tool that you can use to help yourself to do that. But first of all, I wanted to ask you a question before I kind of share a few thoughts, prompts for you. Do you think your view on success has changed? And the time period I really mean is sort of like when you started out in your career, whenever that was, you know, we're a really diverse group of people here with lots of different experience. Yes, Elizabeth says massively since early 20s. So I guess, yeah, first question is, has it changed? And if so, how? Like what's changed about it? So if I was going to share, I remember when I started out in my career, I kind of wanted to join a grad scheme and I wanted to be senior as quickly as I could. That was it. Whereas now, I don't really care about seniority. I care about impact and I care about my time being well spent. Yeah, definitely from progression to impact. Interesting. Yeah, the chief from day one. I love that, Leanne. Yeah, it's not about money anymore. It's about how I help my clients. And I just find it really intriguing. I haven't got an answer on this at all, but I find it really intriguing that when we're younger, perhaps when we start out in our career, like what is it that creates that desire to be a chief, to progress as quickly as possible? Like where does that come from? Is it coming from our parents? Is it coming from our observations about the world around us? Maybe the Oxford English Dictionary is kind of pervasive in ways that we don't even know. But this kind of shift in terms of what success means for us over time, I think it's just an interesting thing to reflect on. Maria, I think we want to prove ourselves and that we have value in the world. Yeah, Kate, parenting and schooling. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's terrifying. What am I teaching my kids? Job titles don't mean much. Yeah, absolutely. So as we are thinking today about success and how we make it as individual as we are, I think there are a few, what I think of as like prompts and provocations that we need to talk about. I'm just trying to find all of my notes. Okay, I don't know where my notes are, everybody, which is not helpful for this session, but let's go with it anyway. So some prompts and provocations to help us. The first thing I think is useful to think about when you're thinking about your own version of success is external success versus internal success. And what I mean by that is when you reflect on making what success means to you, I think quite a lot of the time we can default to external symbols of success. That's like the job titles, the companies that we work for. Maybe it's the levels, maybe it's the things that we get with jobs. I think earlier in my career, I was driven by some of that kind of stuff. The cars that I got with jobs, ridiculous. But actually, when we're trying to individualize our success, making sure that we know what motivates and drives us, which is your values, like what success really means to you, I think is a useful and important thing for us to reflect on for ourselves. The other thing when I was diving into all of this that was really interesting for me was the difference between, and this is quite nuanced, but achievement versus success. There are quite a few different articles on this when I started searching about it. And it said that achievement is, it's almost like the what. These are like the things that you get along the way. They're the moments that indicate that you've kind of done something well. But that success is something different, and that success is more about a why, and success is more about a feeling. But actually the two things are different. And the reason it's important is because sometimes people get this, they get achievement. They like, we publish a book, we get some more, we reach another milestone on the podcast, but it doesn't feel meaningful, because success is a feeling. It's not really an outcome. Achievement is an outcome, but success is a feeling. And so I think an important thing for people to reflect on is what success feels like for them. Like what do you want success to feel like? And Kate says, is this the same as intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Yeah, the internal, external thing, absolutely. And there might well be some things that are extrinsic, so external to you, that are motivating, but I think it's just making sure that you're not just defaulting to those things, and that those things are actually kind of really meaningful to you over time. The other thing that I think is interesting that I came across is like binary versus variable success. So when we think about success as binary, this is like we either succeed or we don't, we win or we lose. It's very binary, but actually success isn't binary. Success is more variable. You might be more successful than you expected, or you might be less successful than you expected. But if we think about success as being variable, what are the situations that I'm more successful? What are the environments that I'm more successful in? Then that gives us a bit more nuance, rather than it being really binary. I win, I lose, I fail, I succeed. That becomes really fixed, and it makes our emotions much more kind of up and down. So when we're individualizing our success, again, no answers here. These are just prompts and provocations. But I think there are three things that are really useful for us to reflect on. The first is this bit about this internalizing success, what really matters most to us. That's really hooking it to values. This bit here about success is a feeling. It's not necessarily an outcome. So what would success feel like for you might be a slightly different question if we're trying to individualize it. And then also trying to think about it as being variable. So it's not a single destination. I'm just trying to put myself into places where I am more successful, with people that I am likely to be more successful with. It's not fixed and finite. It doesn't end. It's a continual thing that we want to invest in our career. So before I move on to the next thing, I've got some kind of tools for you, I guess, to take away, some ideas for action. Any reflections on any of that? Does it resonate with you? Does it maybe help you to think slightly differently? It being a feeling, it being variable. And then I've got three ideas for action that I really want to share with you. Plus one, Laurie. Okay, definitely a feeling. The point about it being a feeling. Yeah, I thought that. The achievement. And do you know, the reason that I thought that was because there have been things that I've achieved that I've put a lot of effort into. But then once you've got them, you kind of, I don't know, if you think that is success, you then get a little bit disappointed because it hasn't fulfilled that need inside you, which is the intrinsic motivator, which is the feeling. Some stuff. Yeah, sorry to give you loads of stuff to think on, but I if we're really trying to individualize it, this is a bit harder. It takes a bit more effort. I think succeeding in a squiggly career requires you to ask a few more questions than just, how do I get my next promotion? That can sometimes be an easier question, but it doesn't necessarily get you the thing that's most meaningful to you. Okay, so I have got for you 3 ways, ideas for action to support success in a squiggly career. And you can do this for yourself. You can do this if you're a manager. You might want to do some of this stuff with your team. If you coach other people, or if you're a mentor, these are things that you can, tools and ideas that you can use to help other people. They're different things that we use in our sessions and in some of our coaching stuff. So maybe it can help you. So the first thing is we call the success sliders. And so asking somebody, what does success mean to you, is a really big question. Or if I was to say, what does success feel like to you? That's quite a hard question. So sometimes you might want to ease people into it. So in order to ease people into it, what we sometimes do is we give them some words of what potential successes might be. So you can see some of these on the screen in front of you, things like impact, respect, contribution. What I would like you to do, just to bring this kind of exercise to life, can you, everyone that knows how to do this, can you stick a stamp on any of those words that reflect what success means to you? Anybody that's new that now sees loads of stars and hearts going on their screen, I'm going to tell you what to do. Go towards the top of your screen. You should see view options, and then annotate, stamp, and star, and then you're just going to put that on the screen in front of you on any of these words that feel like you. View options, annotate, stamp, and star. Katie, I can see you've raised your hand. Have you a question, or is it an accidental hand wave?
I was just trying to access what you were talking about. Accidental, sorry.
Katie, I was on a session yesterday where everyone decided to wave at me, but I thought they were all asking questions. So they kept waving at me and I was like, is this a question or are you being friendly? Okay, so it's just view options, annotate, stamp, and start. Philippa, you've got the questions are for, is there anything else? Like, is there a word that means success to you that isn't on here? So giving energy to others, Philippa, that's lovely. I like that one. Again, first of all, there's no right or wrong with any of this, but what this can be quite useful to do, particularly if you do it like we're doing it in Zoom, because it's anonymous then like this, you get a bit of a steer. So if you're a manager, really interesting to get a bit of a steer from your group. But if you're just doing in a one-to-one conversation, it can just make it a bit easier. So for example, this group here, the stuff, we're a bit of a skewed group because we're all people that are passionate about career development for ourselves and other people. So there's a bit of a skew here, but we care about making a difference and growth. Probably the 2 things I would say that are coming up the most. So what you then do, having made it slightly easier for someone to start having a conversation about success, is we start doing what we call success sliders. So I'm going to take the 2 things that you said, making a difference and growth. And what I'm going to do is write them here. So I'll just put MAD here, making a difference and growth. And what you do, and you can do this to reflect for yourself, you can use it with somebody else. First of all, you want to do yourself a little scale. So we're going to do 1 to 10. Scales make reflection easier. So that's why we use scales. They make a difficult reflection kind of easier to get into. So for example, making a difference, what I would say and get someone to do is write on there, scale of 1 to 10, how important is that to you right now? This is the point about it being variable. Making a difference might feel like a really important thing for you, but you might say, well, right now I've got some other things going on, so it's probably like an 8 out of 10. That in terms of importance in my life, making a difference important, but there's other stuff that's more important. And I might say growth is probably the thing that is most important to me right now for where I'm at. So you're able to tease a little bit of nuance out and saying, well, one thing is slightly more important than the other. And then the next question becomes, and in terms of the work that you do today, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel that you're making a difference? And so I might say probably a 5 out of 10 here. And then in terms of your growth, how much do you feel that you are achieving and succeeding with what growth means to you? And I might say, yeah, it's 10 out of 10 important, but 2 out of 10 in terms of what I'm doing. And then the question becomes, how do I get that from 5 to 8, for example, or from 2 to 5? We don't want to leap to 10 too hard. This is about sort of micro movements. It's about what could I do in the next month, in the next quarter to move 1 or 2 points. And the point of success sliders is it starts to get someone thinking about, what does success mean to me? And you've given those words to help them. How important is it to me right now with everything else I've got going on? And how much am I getting from my work today? So it is just a tool to give someone a sort of a coaching ability to work their way through this thinking around success. So that's kind of idea number one. What I'm going to do at the end is ask you which one of these you think would work best for you. So that's tool number one, success sliders. Just starts what might feel like a tricky conversation. Tool number two is what we call the success circumference. And this is about helping people to recognize that they can be more successful when they think of success being more than them. So let me explain that. Often when we think about success, it's very me-centric. How can I succeed? What does success mean to me? How can I succeed? Which is fine. But actually you can get more of a sense of success. You can get more of that feeling that we talked about earlier when we actually start thinking about success as something that is bigger. And it's not just me, it's we. It's about collective success. So if I think about how does Helen Tupper succeed, I get to one outcome. If I think about how do the we in my business succeed, the people that I work with, how do I help the podcast company that we work with succeed? How do I help the people that work with us on social media? How do we all succeed together? How do we get better together? Then I get like an amplified sense of success. I get more of that feeling that matters to me. And so collective success helps people to feel more fulfilled. It's one way you can kind of increase what we call the circumference of your success. So that's one thing. Move more from me to we. Team conversations about success are a really good way to do that. What does success look like for us collectively? How could we come together and achieve that? What would success look and feel like for us as a team? Those sorts of questions help to increase everyone's commitment and fulfillment. The other way that you can increase your circumference of success is because maybe, I don't know, maybe this resonates more with you, or maybe you don't work in a team, maybe you're freelance. The other thing that you can do is you can think about how do you help other people succeed? So this might be stakeholders, this might be this could be friends, this could be colleagues, different people you work with. But if you think to there about what does success look like for them, and how can you help them to succeed? So I might think, oh, I know that somebody in my team is about to become a mum for the second time, and so success for her is being able to balance her work and being a working parent. And so how could I help her succeed in doing that? I could think about how we make her work flexible. I could connect to maybe with the charity that I work for, Working Families, and lots of different ways. But if you start thinking about, oh, how can I help other people to succeed, you can also increase the circumference of your success. You get more of that feeling, you get more of that sense of success. You can do both of these, collective and this kind of more, how do I contribute to others' success? Or you can just do one of them. But it all amounts to the same thing. It increases your sense of success. And then the last tool I wanted to just kind of share with you so that you can just like invest a bit more thinking and get a bit more specific about success is what we call the success so what's. This is a way that you can challenge that thing about achievement. So if if we're kind of accidentally defaulting to achievements being success, like so, oh, I'm going to publish a book this year, or me publishing my second book is success. If it feels like sometimes you default to those achievements being success, this is a good one for that. It's basically super simple, but it's just going if, then. Really simple. So if I publish a second book, which is effectively just an achievement, it's not going to be that meaningful. If I think that's going to be that meaningful, I'm probably going to get disillusioned. But that's fine. We could just use it as the prompt. But if I publish a second book, then I'll feel like I'm helping more people to achieve in their career. That is the feeling. That's the so what. That's the thing that makes the difference. So if I get promoted, that's an achievement. It might not feel that meaningful for that long. What's the so what? If I get promoted, so what? Then I'll be able to make a bigger contribution to the company and have a greater impact through my efforts. Making a contribution, bigger impact. That's the thing that's meaningful. That's the feeling that matters. So this success so what's is just a really good thing just to make sure that it's going to be meaningful for you, and that we're not going to have these achievements that aren't going to be fulfilling for us in our career. Last thing, and then I want to know we'll do the stars so we can work out which of this which of these things resonates for you. And so what I've done here is I've just summarized the things I've talked about. So at the top here, you've got those 3 prompts and provocations. This could be quite a good page to screenshot if it is useful for you. And then down here, I've put those 3 different like tools to try out, the ideas for action here about the sliders, the circumference, and the success so what's. I would love to know, with a final bit of annotation, which one of those tools that you think you'd like to try out. You can just stick the star on any of those tools that you were like, oh, I like the circumference idea, Helen, or I like that success so what's. Stick a star on any of those tools that you'd like to have a bit of a try out. It's good kind of good feedback for me. This is why it's difficult sometimes for us to share this stuff in the podcast, because it feels a bit easier to draw it and explain it. Okay. Ooh, which is there a winner? There doesn't need to be a winner. Success is variable, but I'm always interested. Looks like they're pretty even. I like all the tools. Oh, Karine, I'm glad. Brilliant. Okay, so I am going to leave it there today, partly because I need to go down at 9:30 and deliver a session on career pivots all morning and practice them. But before you go, any questions or reflections on success? I don't want to kind of leave you with anything. We have got a couple of minutes. So if there's any questions or reflections, let me know. Otherwise, the recording of this will go on to amazingif.com, or that pod sheet and the pod notes there already there ready for you. Can you flip back to the grid before success slides? Yes, I'm going to clear these drawings so you can screenshot that if that is helpful for you. And then I am going to, I'm going to go back to that grid. So I'll go here for you. I'll get rid of those circles so it's a bit cleaner. Again, there are loads more words than this, but this is just a good prompt. Yes, I'm looking forward to being at the Visa Learning Festival as well. Brilliant. Pleasure, everybody. Well, look, have a good day. I now need to rapidly remember everything that I've got to talk about this morning on career pivots. But thank you for coming. I know it's a little bit rushed and lots to go through, but hopefully some useful tools for you to take away. And we will see you next week. In fact, Sarah will see you next week because I am on holiday next week. So Sarah will see you next week. But take care, everybody. Thank you, Melissa. Speak to you soon, everybody. Take care. Bye.